We can admit everybody, I think. Okay, please let me know when we start recording. The colleagues, partners from all over the region and even beyond the region, you're welcome to this regional workshop on permaculture and community seeds production. I am Sophie Treinen. I will be the moderator of this workshop today, and I'm very pleased to be with you today, having worked with the regional office for 5 years and now also working in headquarters on family farming. To start, I would like to give a few information on the interpretation. So interpretation is available, and you can select whether you want to listen in English or if you prefer to listen in Russian. So you see the globe, which gives you this opportunity to select in which language you would like to hear and even to speak in this workshop. We kindly ask you to mute yourself. You will have the possibility to talk when we will be in working groups. And if you want to share with us who you are, you can activate your camera. And we will even have a group picture just before we go into the working groups. You can write to us, you can share your opinion, and you have for that the option of chat that you see highlighted. And then when we will be in group discussion, we kindly ask you to raise your hand when you want to intervene. Well, this workshop is being recorded, so please smile when you have your camera on, because we are recorded. Okay, so I have just found the picture a few days ago on Facebook from the UK Facebook, and I thought that this was a nice way to start. You see, how to go broke farming. And the first thing is grow only one crop, keep no livestock, regards chicken and a garden as nuisance, take everything from the soil and return nothing. Don't stop gullies or grow cover crops. Let the topsoil wash away and then you will have bottomland. Don't plan your farm operation. It's hard-working thinking. Trust to luck. Regard your woodlands as you would a coal mine. Cut every tree, sell the timber, and wear the cleared land out cultivating it in corn. Hold fast to the idea that the methods of farming employed by your grandfather are good enough for you. Be independent. Don't join your neighbors in any form of cooperation. Mortgage your farm for every dollar. It will stand to buy things you would have the cash to buy if you followed a good system of farming. And this was written 100 years ago by the Division of Extension of the University of Tennessee. So this is just a little clin d'oeil, as we say in French, to show you and to introduce you to this workshop. So in this workshop, we are going to have 3 topics. We're going to talk about permaculture. And what is permaculture? You will discover this very soon. We are going to talk about foraging plants, wild plants, or spontaneous plants. Some even call them weeds, but are they really weeds? And this is what we will discover. And then community seeds production. So these are the 3 thematics. So we would like to promote these 3 topics in the region. And we have been working on these topics and prepared different reports that we are going to show you and to explain what are the content. So we will share the findings, but of course, this is also documented with experiences from the region, and we have invited a few people from different countries to share their practice and experience. And of course, here we are there with you to validate, to also have your opinion. So we would like to discuss with you the upscaling and the strengthening needed of capacities in the region to go about this. So these were the objective of this regional forum. And so now I would like to give the floor to Tanya Santivanes. Tanya is the team leader. She is the responsible officer for Regional Initiative 3. So what is Regional Initiative 3? Tanya will tell us. And I'm very pleased to welcome you, Tanya. Please.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. Good morning, good afternoon, distinguished speakers, their participants, their colleagues, their friends. On behalf of FAO, it's a pleasure and honor for me to welcome you to this regional workshop on permaculture and community seed production for Europe and Central Asia region. According to the last report on the state of food security and nutrition in the world, in 2021, more than 800 million people suffer from hunger. The figure has increased by about 150 million since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, and the ECA region is not excluding from this situation. This represents an enormous challenge for agri-food system, even more in the current scenario of global climate crisis, where we have reached the limits of the productivity capacities of land and water system. And today, following economic crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic, we find ourselves in the center of the global food crisis caused by a rapid increase of food prices and shortages of food supplies around the world, provoked by a series of compounding geopolitical, economic, and natural causes. Our region is home diverse ecosystem, which are increasingly threatened by change in land use, intensification of agriculture sector, and impact of climate change. Over half of agricultural land in Central Asia is degraded by water scarcity, salinization, and for pesticide contamination. And biodiversity is experiencing dramatic change and loss, as small farmers and family farms remain the backbone of rural economies and food system in our region. The sustainability of their livelihoods and local incomes and rural poor, women, youth, and indigenous people is being disproportionately compromised. Under these circumstances, more than ever, action needs to be taken to reverse land degradation, to restore the ecosystem, to sustainable use and preserve biodiversity for food and agriculture in the region. In this context, the regional initiative on managing natural resources, sustainable and preserving biodiversity in a changing climate for Europe and Central Asia provide countries with a strategy, mechanisms, and policy recommendation for addressing the interlinked challenge of climate change, natural resources management, biodiversity maintenance, and environmental sustainability to transition to more climate resilience and sustainable agri-food system for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, leaving no one behind, which is our corporative principles. Let me underline that one of the main components of our regional initiative is biodiversity and nature positive production, promoting preservation, restoration, and sustainable use of biodiversity. Green production approaches such as climate-smart agriculture, nature-based solution, permaculture, agroecology, and climate-resilient seed system are some of the areas of work for building resilient agro-system capable of undertaking current and future challenge. Today, we are organizing the regional workshop in the framework of the Regional Technical Platform on Green Agriculture to facilitate the sharing of knowledge, good practice, and enhance regional collaboration on permaculture and community seed system. Let me highlight that each sustainable green production model requires an appropriate supply of seeds in quantity quality in timelines. In this sense, we see a connection between permaculture as a diverse system of food production with community seed production, which also has as central element the conservation and sustainable use of genetic resources. That is why in this workshop, we will discuss about the development of community seed production as a foundation to transform agri-food system. For this, we will have two interesting presentations among the others. The first on a study on community seed production in ECA region, and the other one will be present the experience of the network of seed savers of Kyrgyzstan. We hope that the webinar provides us an opportunity to increase our understanding of the importance of promoting the permaculture and community seed production initiative, which are critically important for tackling the multiple crises in our region. Finally, today, I would like to share with you good news. Egypt's COP27 presidency and FAO launched on last Saturday the Food and Agriculture for Sustainable Transformation Initiative to increase climate financial contribution for agriculture and food system to support the most vulnerable communities. Its main goal is to reimagine, transforming, reconfiguring the agri-food system to deliver triple wins for people, for climate action, and for nature. Thank you for your attention and participation. Looking forward to a productive discussion. Over to you, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Tanya, and thank you also for the good news, because we need this in a climate change crisis. So we would like to actually have your opinion and also to understand your familiarity with the subject of the workshop. So Lulia is going to now launch the poll, and we are going to ask you the following questions. What is your level of knowledge on permaculture? Julia, you can launch the poll. What is your level of knowledge on foraging plants? And what is your level of knowledge on community seeds production? And you have the possibility to decide whether it's nothing, somewhat, quite familiar, or maybe an expert. So please, I give you a few seconds so that you can indicate how familiar you are with these three subjects that we will discuss today. Okay. I give you a few more seconds. Okay, are you ready to see the results? Julia, maybe you can show now what are the results. Okay, so what is your level of permaculture? I see that 61% of the people who are present today, they have somewhat knowledge, some nothing, and this is great because this is the opportunity to learn more. And some are experts or quite familiar, so it's already a third of you. About foraging plants, I can see that some don't know anything. This is 28%. Some know a little bit, some are quite familiar, and some are expert. Actually, this means that many of the people who are present today have quite a good idea of what we're talking about. And this is nice to know. Then we have this last subject about the seeds production. And we can see that we have a repetition, about a third nothing, and somewhat 22%, and quite familiar and expert, this is about 50%. So this is what people have shared with us today, and this is quite good. So we know a little bit more about what is your level. So if you want to know more, I will continue, and I'm going to invite now Anya Coutinho. Anya Coutinho is from Moldova. Since 2022, she has been the executive director of the association, the Garden of Moldova, or Gradina Moldovei. She holds a bachelor in biology, a master in science and environmental management, an advanced master in science in European integration, and she did a specialization in economy and environmental governance. She also worked for the European Parliament Intergroup on Climate Change, Biodiversity and Sustainable Development. So with all these qualities and skills, I'm pleased to hear Anya, and also what has been done on the report on permaculture. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sophie. So I'm gonna share my screen in a moment. Okay. Now you see it, yes? Okay. So my name is Anya, as Sophie already presented. Together with the FAO, we have been preparing this review report on permaculture in Europe and Central Asia. So what is the purpose of the report? The purpose is to actually describe the permaculture concept, its application, also the practical side of the concept application in the regional countries, and very importantly, to show the benefits, the environmental, the economic, the ecological benefits that it brings to growers, consumers, and society as a whole. Okay, so the first thing, the background. Permaculture actually supports the FAO strategy of the 4 betters. It is an agroecological and nature-based approach that allows to reduce the amount to reduce the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and to produce diversity of foods, either of vegetal or animal origin, and that's why it's good for nutrition. It diversifies diets. It's also very good for environment, because apart from reducing the chemical inputs in the production, it helps to it allows to create space for wild flora and fauna in different ways, and we are going to see how it's going to happen with our practical case. And it's also much brings a lot of benefit for life through different ways. First, because it allows to reduce labor for producers due to ecosystem services that the permaculture system relies upon, but also by producing a variety of food, being more connected to nature, being more connected to people and local community. Actually, it improves a lot the well-being of producers, and that's why it's for better life. So why do we need permaculture? Sophie started very well with this list of how to destroy the food production, and here we classified this in several groups of problems. So we have the problems of natural resources degradation, and soil, water, biodiversity. And then we have the problems with climate in conventional systems, the unhealthy diets due to monoculture and low diversity, but also abuse of chemicals. And also, lastly, but not the least, the economic inefficiency of conventional systems, which rely largely on external inputs and are very vulnerable, especially in times of economic shocks or other type of adversities, ecological or sanitary. So the report actually consists of three main parts. It consists of introduction to permaculture. It's about the concept, the principle, the ethics, then the practical manual, which provides examples of concrete practical techniques that can be used to create a permaculture system, and then good practice fact sheets, which describe some cases in details, showing the background, what they did, and what were the results and the impacts. So the cases that actually could serve as examples for upscaling. So what is permaculture? It was coined by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren, but actually it exists for a long time. It's an approach to nature. It's an approach to actually not only to nature and food production, but it's an approach to life that is holistic. It's a systems thinking. So we see things not divided or separated, but we see them together. And permaculture is multidisciplinary. Although we talk here a lot about food and agriculture, in fact, permaculture covers a range of other areas, and we're also going to look at that. But in general, this is the photograph of one of the permaculture systems, which you see is diversified, rich, abundant, has lots of foods, and contributes to a variety of benefits. Well, contributing to a variety of aspects in food production, we actually can see that permaculture is much more than sustainable. Sustainable means to sustain at one level, so keep the same level over time. But it's not enough. We know that in nature, actually, ecosystems, all this have everything in abundance, all this offering much more than it's needed. Like, for example, a tree, an oak tree, which has acorns, it has much more acorns that actually will then become trees. And that's how it supports the ecosystem and other animals and insects and other elements of the entire system. And this abundance allows for regeneration. So permaculture allows to regenerate natural resources. And that's why it's has even more impact than just being a sustainable practice. Being a holistic approach, so we look at the pillars of permaculture. And the pillars are its ethics, which is care for the earth, translated into care for natural resources, care for people, and here we talk more about social dimension, about the farmer or producer himself, and the society as a whole, and the fair share. A fair share not only with the community, but also with nature, because as I said, it allows to create abundance that fosters regeneration. So the permaculture design principles are in number of 12. Some sources may give other numbers, but in general, these are the principles that most agree upon. And they include observe and interact, catch and store energy, obtaining a field, and many others. But I would like just to highlight several of them. And one of them is diversity, which is very important in permaculture, and actually is the one that allows to develop synergy and functional connections between the elements that would allow ecosystem services to regenerate. And then another very important principle, which is integrate rather than segregate. And here I would like to emphasize it's not just about the farm itself. We also talk about society. So we also talk about farmers, we talk about community, we talk about, let's say, farmers markets, community supported agriculture, eco-villages, and so on. So it's very inclusive, and it allows to create space for everybody, for nature and for people. So what are the permaculture practices? Here on the left, you see a permaculture practitioner who's showing the soil that he has been able to regenerate, which it's the fertile soil that allows producer to grow tasty food in abundance. And so the common permaculture practices, we can divide them in several categories. So the biological field, it's related to the on-farm practices, for example, like forest gardening or seed saving, intercropping, but also foraging. So foraging, actually, we are going to talk a bit more about it today. Apart from seeds and community seed production, foraging is something that our ancestors did. And it's amazing because that's how they learned about nature, about what surrounds them, what they can use to eat, or to produce clothes, or even to make sustainable buildings. And then here we have the build field, which is also included in permaculture. So about water harvesting, about biochar for soil fertility, energy storage, and there can be many more. Behavioral field, we can find here different practices related to education, like reading landscapes, again, knowing what's around you and how you can use it in a regenerative way. Healthy, so health and spiritual well-being. Finance, as I said, for community-supported agriculture, farmers market, which foster functional connections between people in society and in community. And then the last, not the least, land tenure, community, and community governance. So there are different benefits of permaculture, and we can classify them in several categories. Let's say the ones related to natural resources are about soil, about water, waste, climate adaptation, improved nutrition and health, but also reduced cost. So it's very common to hear that that is what is for nature is expensive, it bear additional costs, and who's going to pay for it. But in reality, actually, permaculture allows to reduce costs, different ones. First on external inputs, and then also cost on health, because the person eats healthier. Also emotional health, when the person feels more meaningful in their job and what they do, and feel more connected to society. That's also important for health and well-being. Then also human-centered development, which is not about GDP, but it's about people. It's about community, how they work together, how they support each other, how they support nature that supports their needs. And could you please turn the microphone, someone? And then also the traditional knowledge and culture, which permaculture is embedded in, because knowing the context-specific application of permaculture means that the person knows the local flora, the local fauna, and their use. And people have been learning about it for centuries. This knowledge is embedded in local traditions and culture. So this is a very important aspect, which is also related to development and economic growth. So in the report, we describe different cases, and here you can see the farmer's market and a farmer on the left who is selling directly the food to their to this family. And what we described about the cases is that where they are, what are their characteristics, what are the practices that they use, and of course the results and impacts. And we are going to have, just right after me, we're going to have a case that will go in details. So summarizing about everything that we saw in different cases is that permaculture allows to produce diverse crops and products. And I'm talking here about really big diversity. So herbs, even medicinal plants, legumes, fruits, berries, chicken, ducks, eggs, goats, etc., etc., etc. So there is no limit. It can be as complex and as big as the producer decides to create it. It allows to conserve and sustainably use biodiversity and ecosystem services. And one of the things that we saw is that permaculture producers, they enjoy the return of nature on their farms. They enjoy birds, amphibians, sometimes reptiles, and also spontaneous flora, which they allow, not in all cases, but in some cases to leave for foraging or for other ecosystem functions in their production. Then it allows to produce fresh local products with authentic taste. And this is very important because it not only supports the local community and the local food security and nutrition security, but also it allows to attract economy. It allows to attract tourism to unique products, to unique food, and so that the people can feel the experience of the place and the territory where they are. So it increases also producers' autonomy and resilience to ecological economic shocks, because having many products, many crops allows producer to not be worried if this year the harvest of this crop is not good, because he has just many others, and it's much less stressful and also allows to keep the farm going. Contributing to community local economic development. This is very important. Yes, major challenges. So apart from results, impacts, and all the good things about it, of course, there are challenges in the region, and we noticed the ones related to knowledge, to context, but also economy and evidence. We are going to discuss them in groups later in the breakout rooms, those which were identified, and also hoping for your feedback and your ideas if we miss something and we should add other challenges to be addressed. And opportunities. We also found that actually permaculture initiatives are growing, and there are so many opportunities to develop them, upscale them, and attract more people, because it's beautiful, because it's tasty, because it works for producers and their communities. We notice that we can support what already exists, strengthen it, and then move on with the development. But again, in details, we're going to discuss this in breakout rooms together. Thank you for your attention. And I am coming back to Zoom.
Thank you very much, Anya. This was really interesting to show us what were the principles, the ethics, also good examples, some pictures. And I'm very happy that we have a farmer who is going now to be able to tell us more about how he is practicing it. So I will introduce now Taras Suhodoliski. He is from Lviv region in Ukraine. Taras, he grew up in a city. He received a higher degree in veterinary and biological science. And then 17 years ago, he decided to purchase land in a beautiful, picturesque natural area to start production system from zero. So with his 18 hectares of land, Taras created an interconnected permaculture farm. And this includes a wide range of vegetables, fruit trees, but also livestock and aquaculture. So despite the fact that it's a large total area, the plots are varied, and they go from 1 to 3 hectares, and they are separated along 2 banks for about 8 kilometers. So they are located on the hill and some in the gorge. So you see something quite complex. So now it's my pleasure to invite Taras. Taras is going to speak in Russian. And so I invite people who do not understand Russian to go in the interpretation channel and go into the English channel so that they can listen to the interpretation. So the floor is now to Taras.
Здравствуйте, рад приветствовать всех. Меня зовут Тарас Суходольский. Я землевладелец и фермер из Украины, хутор Плоско. Алло, слышно меня?
Да.
Да?
We can hear you very well.
И еще раз
Я
приветствую всех. Я Тарас Суходольский, землевладелец и фермер из хутора Плоская, Украина. Занимаюсь пермакультурой и природным земледелием, уже биодинамическим земледелием уже больше 17 лет. Вырос в городе, получил образование в области ветеринарии, биологии. 17 лет назад решил приобрести землю в живописном районе, вдали от людей, где нету ни интернета, ни связи. Целью было создать замкнутую систему, экосистему, которая могла бы, ну, сначала хотя бы прокормить семью, а потом она уже начала развиваться, увеличиваться, и на протяжении последующих лет увеличивал количество земли, различия культур, животных и рыб, и внедрял их в эту экосистему, стараясь так, чтобы они сами могли выращивать и добывать себе пищу, создавал им такие условия, так, чтобы они как можно меньше вмешательством человека в эту работу. Человек только как бы руководил и более-менее направлял эту систему в русло, в котором всем было бы комфортно. Земля не очень хорошая выдалась, потому что это ущелье между холмами, склон, это глина, на которой ничего не задерживалось, где много лет косили и забирали оттуда траву, то есть корневой не было вообще, вода моментально сходила, иногда даже образовывала промоины. А долина – это заброшенные, заросшие болотные участки. Эти земли так не брались одним куском, они добирались по времени, и на расстоянии 8 километров это вышли участки по 1, 2, 3 гектара. Между ними не было дорог, это все вдоль реки по заболоченным поймам, это надо было прокладывать и дороги такие, чтобы можно было проехать, и выбирать даже погоду. Иногда, если сено собирал на горе, то трактор с сеном мог стоять 2 и 3 недели, ожидая сухой погоды, чтобы можно было спустить его вниз. Также в помощниках была лошадь. Лошадь намного упрощала работу, но все-таки из-за того, что нету людей, которых можно взять на работу, пришлось добирать и технику. Производственные циклы, замкнутый цикл – это выращивание сельскохозяйственных культур и выращивание питательных веществ в землю. Многое помогает биодинамические системы земледелия, как изготовление биодинамических препаратов, внесение их в компост для того, чтобы максимально сохранить и переработать органические отходы от животных и перенести их в землю. Участок 3,5 гектара обрабатываются только животными. Утки, свиньи, козы, овцы. 3,5 гектара поделены такими огород-вольерами, где в определенное время заходят или козы, или свиньи, или утки, для того, чтобы ухаживать или обрабатывать землю, или если это новый участок, чтобы его привести в такое состояние, в котором можно что-то посадить. Убрать оттуда сорняки, на которых прекрасно откармливаются свиньи. Они сами их добывают. Утки борются со слизнями, утки, заходя в огород, в определенное время не успевают вытоптать, а только убрать слизней или других вредителей. Уток и курей не кормлю уже этих все 17 лет. Они разбредаются по территории, делая свои такие маленькие колонии, и поскольку их содержится только в том количестве, в котором нужно для ухода за землей, они не делают никакого вреда. Им достаточно ту пищу, которую выращиваю я для себя. И таким образом даже у меня нету плохих овощей или культур, которые не имеют товарного вида, потому что все, что некрасивое, нетоварное, переходит для еды животным. Также содержатся рыбы, форели, карп, толстолоб. Для каждого из них сделаны отдельные водоемы или вместе даже, когда они есть зоны, где для них в Ряске есть много животных, много рачков, которыми питается форель. И вот этот цикл помогает не ухаживать за водоемом, а контролировать только количество рыб, которым будет достаточно той пищи, которую я могу вырастить для них. Для коз созданы такие каркасы, которые забиваются сеном и накрываются крышей. Козы, когда становятся на зиму, они поедают сено и понемножку переходят в ту зону, где было сено. На следующий год достраивается еще один такой же по объему. А там снимается крыша, затягивается клеенка, и это становится теплицей. Все системы стараюсь подстраивать так, чтобы как можно меньше человек приделял своего времени и труда, и животные могли сами себе устраивать жизнь и добывать пищу, размножаться. Для них делается только минимум для переночевать там или переждать дождь или ветер. Они сами прекрасно себе могут давать в таких условиях Раду. Козы, овцы, свиньи, они круглый год на улице, они не содержатся в замкнутых помещениях, они имеют вольный доступ как на улицу, так и за территорию. Такие как козы, они ходят вдоль реки, чистят реку от зарослей, принося домой органические остатки из того, что они скушали. Это как бы еще и извне приносят достаточное количество органических продуктов жизнедеятельности животных. Все отходы компостируются и вносятся назад в землю. Потому что чем лучше мы вырастим землю, тем лучше на ней вырастет урожай. Тем меньше он будет болеть, потому что здоровая пища может вырасти только на здоровой земле. Такая биодинамическое земледелие очень много дало понять, как это делать и для чего, и как это создать, чтобы мы максимально получили из этих отходов достаточно пищи для растений. Очень много дало понятие, что не звери, хищники и болезни, и вредители идут ко мне на территорию, а то, что это я пришел к ним на территорию, на которой они жили. И мне надо было все свое мышление перестроить на то, что мне надо с ними не бороться, не тратить силы, а научиться взаимодействовать, подбирать культуры, подбирать технологии земледелия, так, чтобы, изучая физиологию растений, животных, процессы, которые нужны для этого, я больше и больше понимал, какое биоразнообразие должно присутствовать, на какие циклы я должен перекрывать какими растениями, потому что очень сыро и холодно у нас, очень быстро заходит солнце, долина очень сырая. Много болезней было. Надо было вырастить из десятков сортов одного вида те растения, которые смогли быть более устойчивыми в этих условиях. Из-за этого начал формировать свой банк семян, заниматься селекцией и дало сейчас, это очень много дало, что я уже много лет не покупаю семян, могу только обмениваться, и у меня есть, они меня никогда не подводят, я их прекрасно знаю, я уже знаю, как они себя ведут, потому я доволен тем, что я делаю и какую пользу оно приносит как моей семье, так и людям, так и тем, кто интересуется такими вещами.
Okay, Taras, sorry. Would you like to finalize with some final idea, because we also need to go with to move with the other cases, please?
Я извиняюсь, мне трудно на английском, тяжело понимаю.
Тарас, вы могли бы, наверное, закончить какой-то финальной фразой, потому что, чтобы мы перешли уже к следующим кейсам. Спасибо вам огромное за презентацию.
Здоровая земля, здоровое растение, здоровое животное, и в результате мы получим здоровую нацию. Здоровых людей. Спасибо большое всем за внимание. Спасибо. До свидания.
Спасибо и вам. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much for sharing this experience and to see a little bit what can be done. And this is a nice transition to foraging plants, spontaneous plants, wild plants. And we have with us today Wateki, and Wateki Taliana Tobert. She's originally from Russia. She now lives in Italy, and she is the co-founder and a member of the Italian Association of Foraging. And this association is having its board meeting actually at the moment. So she is escaping from this important meeting to be with us and to tell us more about foraging, because she's teaching foraging, but she's also doing research. She identified, harvest, and process wild plants in an eco-sustainable way. So this is a good transition with what we have seen with permaculture. And each summer she goes in Sweden, where she works in a natural reserve, and she undertakes botanical guides, guided tour on edible plants, flowers for a local restaurant. But when she is in Italy, she's also organizing these things, and I've had the pleasure and the honor to be part of some of these groups. And I can tell you, you're always learning something. So Wateki, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for presentation, Sophie, for presenting me. Thank you, everybody. It's very, very touching to hear all the reports that I've heard till now, and to feel the community, a shoulder of other people that also contribute to preserve this knowledge about our connection to the nature. And mine is a little contribution. I will now start sharing my presentation about foraging. I hope you can hear me well, right? Yes, so
perfectly.
I'm happy to know this. So that is the name of my report. I was trying to present the foraging as the art that comes from the very past of our history to the modern times, and to collocate its meaning in the developing of this art itself in the developing world. And I enjoyed to make this report. And so this is the table of contents that
Wateki, we don't see your screen yet. If you have an issue, let me know, and then I will share the presentation. Just let me know.
Yes, 1 second. I probably did not. Here we go. Do you see now, right?
Yes, now we see it. Perfect.
Okay. So It's Your Way Through Nature. This is a name that I've chosen for my report. And as I said, I was trying to collocate this developing art, knowledge, science, whatever, how it is and what is this in the developing world of ours, in which it is very actual thing to know and to keep. This is the table of contents. I will speak just about a little things today, but I have also the appendix in which you can find when you will read this report, the recipes and a lot of names of the plants that I treated in the text, more than 100. That was surprise also for me while just developing this text. So many plants were mentioned. And so what is foraging actually? It is not something new, even if now it became trendy and we hear this word everywhere in connection to many things like art and food, culture, and science, and just even nutrition, how to say, diets of the people, whatever. So every one of us is actually coming with his roots, as the previous people said here, foraging as the art, as the economical activity of Homo sapiens existed from when Homo sapiens existed, actually. So for 2.5 million years, we were collecting knowledge about what is edible, what is good, and what is easy to obtain in the nature. And now what we see is that in less than 2 centuries, all this knowledge has been removed from the scene, because we finally reached the endeavor of the agriculture system, which provides us a lot of food, and we are not anymore starving with finding food, but we still have a problem of the food safety, because now while we escaped from the wild plants for developing the certain vegetables and favored some of the plants to make them our main food, we are now meeting a lot of problems in the nutrition, because the food is a lot, and as what we thought in the past, that what was the concept, that it was always our race, human race, was at the starvation to find food. It's maybe true, but the food was very diverse comparing to our modern times. And I give a big space in my report to a study of the certain case that's called Graubaliemen, of a mummy that was found in the pit box of Denmark. The man who lived 5,000 years ago had as a last meal something that consisted of 66 different species of the plants, while if we try to calculate how many of plant species we have eaten in our last meal, there will be much less. And this is actually one of the first why to eat wild plants that I am presenting in my report. It is food safety and biodiversity is directly connected to our health on all the levels, starting from the digestion and finishing with the mental health, because our health is based on the microbiome of our body. So the diversity of the bacteria depends on the diversity of our food. And more we introduce in our diet some food that we genetically know, more we are safe from this point of view of nutrition and our health. And here on this photo, it is just one salad collected in May in Sweden last year. And we can see that what nature provides to us, it's up to 20 different species, edible, tasty, that we might not know anymore all these species. I mean, with the knowledge, because it's not anymore provided in the schools like it was in the past. It was one of the subjects in the schools, and this I also treat in my report. But so we don't know much about wild plants, but wild plants know a lot about us, and also our genome is very strictly connected to all this food that we used to eat for so long time. Yeah, comparing to the modern food staples that agriculture, especially intensive, gives us, and it is homogenized all over the world. So there is no anymore, or almost not, we are trying to work on it. The local food, the seasonal food, these concepts disappeared together with all the concept of how to obtain food that before we were obtaining from the nature and now from supermarket. That is just to simplify all the things, yeah. And slowly we can get back to this food safety and discover again our connection to the nature on all the levels. And as again, like in all other presentations, here there is a lot about holistic approach to this art. We cannot just say eat the plants because it is not only about nutrition still. I give a big part of my report about the benefits of wild plants, spontaneous plants in our diet, but also in our life itself, because it is also meditative and resilient practice also, and it is something that gives us a very good feeling that the world is full actually with the food just under our feet, and it gives us a pleasant feeling of safety. This is, I speak not about myself or just about all the people who told me, but I did the kind of statistics because working as the forager teacher, I meet a lot of people and I like to make surveys and ask them what brought them to this, to learn about the wild plants, what the benefits they find about it, and what is the primer ideas that they get after this kind of excursions and getting back to contact to something that was part of our traditions, history, and that is still world cultural patrimony. Yeah, so if even no other benefits you're interested in, people enjoy just contribute to saving some knowledge that is actually transmitted only through memory from the previous generations to these generations. Of course, there are books that can help you, and nowadays also apps and programs and so on, but still the direct connection, it is the best. So still
Wateki, you have 2 more minutes. So
okay,
please.
still more, a little bit more about wild plants in the permaculture, as it is already said, it is very important also because they are bioprotectors, indicators of the soil, and also our ancestors used to collect seeds of the wild plants to propagate them on the borders of their village. So it is not something new in context of the foraging. And I dedicated maybe too much time to speaking about why, but in my report there is also problem resolving, like the main problem is not what to do with plants, but how to recognize them, and the safety of the collecting the wild food, and helping yourself. The best is not even the apps, even if they are a good, how to say, help, good hand, but they don't let you be completely sure and don't develop your memory about the wild plants. But the expert is the best source for the learning. And I don't mean myself or just single foraging teachers, but in every region, there will be organization or association or group of people who keep this knowledge, develop it, and spread among the communities, like my association of foragers in Italy, Associazione Italiana di Fitolomorgia. It is, we want to be a point of reference for people who want to receive knowledge about this, also in professional way. So we give a long-term courses, but also small ones for people for different needs who wants to know about foraging. And we give also a support, me also like a teacher, foraging teacher, how to get into foraging from knowing the plants and bringing them already in your diet. And we do this kind of herbariums that I call fit mapping of your territory, and slowly introducing them in your food. And here in my report, you will find some examples of what one can cook, simple food of different seasons from local plants. And it is also provided a table of names of plants, because this is the key to know, you will get to know the Latin names of the plants to be able to convert them and study even more in different cultures what the patrimony provides. No? And there is a table of the different plants in Russian, in English, and Latin language. So that's it for what I can present about my report. I hope you will enjoy it. I'm happy to be part of community today and in general. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Wateki. And you see, this is really exciting. And there is a lot of connection between permaculture. So what are supposed to be weeds are not specifically weeds. They are actually good plants, good herbs that can be aromatic, that can be medicinal, and that you can eat. And with the recipes, we are inviting you to try, also to taste how good these things are. And to be able to continue, we also need seeds. We need to be able to reproduce things. And some of the plants can help the resilience on some vegetables and are good friends for vegetables and for improving seeds. So now I would like to introduce another speaker. His name is Anatoly Albin. He is from Moldova. He's a lawyer, an entrepreneur, a former chief of a legal department in the Ministry of Economy, but he's also a business consultant. He has more than 10 years experience in agroecology. He's a seed-saving practitioner, and is offering urban and rural gardening consulting. So I'm very pleased to have Anatoly explaining what is in the report that has been prepared on community seeds production. Anatoly, the floor is yours. Please unmute yourself. Yes. Can you speak? We don't hear you. Can you try again, please? What I suggest, if you don't mind, as we see that we have a little technical problem, I will suggest that you go out and come back, and I will invite Aida. Aida is a good example of what has been done in Kyrgyzstan with her association. Aida Jamangulova, she's the executive director of the Agency for Development Initiative in Kyrgyzstan. And ADI, it's a women's self-help group that facilitate local communities to run effective and innovative income-generating activities in rural and mountainous area. So Aida will present us farmers' heritage, which is called Yakan Muras, and it is a seed saver network, and that was established to conserve agro-biodiversity of Kyrgyzstan through collecting, growing locally adapted community vegetable seeds varieties. So Aida will talk to us in Russian. So people who don't understand Russian will need to go to the English channel to listen to the interpretation. And the presentation will be in, the presentation is in English. So Anya will share now the screen so that Aida can start presenting what ADI is doing. Aida, the floor is yours.
Здравствуйте, меня слышно, да? Я могу продолжить. Здравствуйте, приветствую вас с Кыргызстана. И мы хотели немножко поделиться своим опытом по работе с сетью семеноводов под названием Декамурас. Декамурас переводится с киргизского языка как «наследие фермера». И основной слоган, которого мы придерживаемся, это агробиоразнообразие, семена и это будущее. Да, можно следующий слайд? Немножко о предыстории в нашей стране. Следующий слайд, можно? Так, немножко о предыстории, что в советское время Кыргызстан был страной, которая предоставляла семена, выращивала семена для всего Кыргызстана, для Советского Союза. И Кыргызстан имеет очень благоприятные условия для выращивания семян. но после развала Советского Союза, к сожалению, мы утратили все наши ресурсы, инфраструктуру, многие люди ушли из этого сектора, многие ученые. И сейчас в данный момент остались только несколько семейных хозяйств, которые в основном специализируются на зерновых культурах. Есть также семеноводческие хозяйства по картофелю. Но относительно семян овощей, к сожалению, ситуация очень плачевная, потому что все семена овощей мы завозим, и в основном это семена гибридных культур. И еще один факт о нашей стране, что Кыргызстан сам по себе является страной мелких фермерских хозяйств. У нас в стране около 400 тысяч мелких фермерских хозяйств, которые производят около 95% продовольствия. И это говорит о том, насколько важно семеноводство на уровне фермеров. Следующий слайд. И следующий слайд, если можно. Да, и в 2015 году при поддержке наших партнеров, это фонд Кристенсена, дальше потом другие наши партнеры возникли, это там Alpais, Seed Soil and Culture, которые смогли поддержать нашу инициативу по возрождению местных сортовых культур овощей для устойчивого сельского хозяйства, а также для сохранения агробиоразнообразия. И так была начата наша инициатива. Можно следующий слайд? С чего, как проходит обучение? Мы построили хорошие взаимоотношения с нашими учеными-агрономами. У нас главный агроном – это ученый, семеновод, который является автором лука сортового. Она возглавила нашу работу по обучению фермеров. И также у нас на местах есть профессиональные агрономы. Но кроме профессиональных агрономов, мы с 2021 года уже подключили, создали фермерские агроэкологические полевые школы для тех людей, для тех фермеров, которые хотели бы обучиться. И основной принцип, то, что я уже сказала, кроме профессиональных агрономов, мы еще привлекаем более опытных фермеров. Мы считаем, что это очень хороший симбиоз, когда работают ученые-агрономы, академический сектор, а также более опытные фермеры, которые могут разработать вместе совместные такой практические курсы обучения. В 2020 году, в 2021 году, из-за ситуации с ковидом, из-за того, что нам сложно было выехать, мы создали YouTube-канал для наших фермеров, который называется «Фермерская школа». На киргизском языке она звучит как «Дыхан Мурас». А также мы работаем с другими нашими партнерами из Европы. Это, я хочу отметить, опыт Эко-Руралиса, это Румыния. Мы также рады были узнать опыт Молдовы, вот Аня и Марианна, а также мы работаем с нашими партнерами школы Компенсина, Италия, и являемся также членами движения «Не лени». Это все опыт, совместный опыт с нашими партнерами из других стран, также обогащает нашу, скажем так, коллекцию знаний, которые мы стараемся уже передать нашим фермерам на местном уровне. И также мы работаем, конечно, с государственными органами сельского хозяйства. В частности, мы работаем с департаментом по экспертизе семян, который находится под Министерством сельского хозяйства. Вот, можно следующий слайд? Это следующий слайд. Можно следующий? После обучения фермеров, то, что как на практике это выглядит. Нет, обратный, тот следующий, предыдущий слайд. Угу. На данный момент у нас 28 семенных участков в 6 регионах. В Кыргызстане 7 регионов, то есть мы работаем в 6 регионах из 7. На каждом семенном участке у нас растут где-то 5-8 культур, которые выращиваются на принципах агроэкологии. То есть это без каких-то синтетических удобрений, пестицидов и на принципах создания как можно большего агробиоразнообразия. Культуры подбираются согласно климатическим зонам, и выбирается совместно нашими фермерами-семеноводами. Сам процесс производства семян фиксируется в учетной книжке семеноводов. Следующий слайд. И один из главных, следующий слайд. Один из главных критерий, который мы изначально, вызовов, который стоял у нас перед нами, это было качество семян. Каким образом мы гарантируем это качество? В первую очередь у нас качество семян идет на уровне фермеров, на самом фермерском хозяйстве. Как я сказала, каждый фермер ведет свою учетную книгу, и сам процесс сопровождается консультациями агрономов, а также опытных фермеров. И также с 2020 года мы внедрили систему PGS, это принципы гарантий на принципах участия, где другие фермеры уже из других участков объединяются и вместе проводят такой мониторинг участка, также проводят обсуждения и консультации. И когда уже семена собираются, мы эти семена отдаем в лабораторию, где уже выносят протокол испытаний, вы видите на слайде, выходит такое из лаборатории заключение по 3 основным критериям. Это всхожесть, энергия роста и частота семян. Следующий слайд. Не успеваю, да? Медленно, да, чуть-чуть. Можно следующий слайд? И я хотела поделиться с вами с некоторыми данными, которые у нас есть по семенам, чтобы показать вам статистику, что в 2015 году, когда мы начинали, это было всего 8 семян, то на данный момент у нас идет уже 73 сортов 22 культур. Вот если на слайде вы видите различные, здесь оранжевым написано семена, которые мы произрастают, красным отмечено количество сортов, синим это отмеченное количество культур, которые мы тестируем, то есть прежде чем уже производить семена, мы каждый год берем какие-то новые семена. И зеленым столбиком отмечено количество новых сортов, которые потом либо мы, если они хорошо приживаются, если фермеры отмечают хорошие результаты, то они уже идут в наш семенной банк. Так, какие культуры? Это в основном овощные культуры, томат, помидор, огурцы, перец, капуста, морковь, свекла, а также у нас есть бахчевые культуры, это дыня и, конечно, зернобобовые. Это фасоль, стручковая фасоль, нут. Да, и
Sorry, Aida, could you please wrap up because we are running out of time. Thank you.
Final, да. Последний слайд, который я хотела бы представить. Можно следующий слайд показать, что семена, я бы хотела сказать, что кроме семян, кроме экономического момента и биофизического момента, для нас семена это еще и источник нашей культурного наследия. Поэтому кроме того, что мы работаем над производством и вообще над качеством семян, мы много еще прилагаем усилия, чтобы увидеть связь, как роль семян в нашей культуре и в нашей истории. Мы считаем, что семена несут в себе ту культуру, которая присуща народу, проживающему в нашей стране, в нашей территории. И у нас очень много пословиц и также традиций, которые связаны с семенами. Семена, прежде всего, в нашей культуре это символ жизни, символ начала. Поэтому мы также ценим эту часть семян. И самый-самый последний слайд, можно следующий слайд, что на данный момент у нас уже в сети находится 700 человек, и, как я уже до этого отметила, 28 фермеров, которые производят семена. Эти 20 семена выращенные этими фермерами, уже распределяется среди членов сети. Буквально на этом я, наверное, вынуждена закончить. И просто хотела, может быть, если пройдется слайдами, просто прощелкайте, если есть возможность такая. Просто хотела сказать о важности этой сети, нашей сети во время карантина, во время ковида, где мы смогли за счет своих семян оказать поддержку более 1140 фермерам. Вот. И, конечно, мы проводим много работ с нашими потребителями, горожанами, где мы популяризируем местные сорта. Я извиняюсь за время. Спасибо большое. Очень много осталось еще, что хотелось поделиться с вами, но на данный момент я, наверное, на этом закончу. И там еще слайд остался по тем вызовам, с которыми мы сталкиваемся. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much, Aida. This is also allowing us time to discuss this further in the working group. And I would like to reiterate that the recording, and we will try to see how we can make the presentation available. What is very interesting is that, as in the principles of permaculture, you have seen that there is the care for the people, the care for the earth, and also to be in a connection with the cosmogony in this case, because there is also the spiritual aspects of seeds. So Albin, I hope that now you can we can hear you, and that you can present what is in the report.
Hello, Sophie. Do you hear me now?
That is perfect.
Nice. Oh, okay. Now I'm out of stress now. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present the report we create together with the different colleagues from FAO, and I have a great pleasure to present it after our colleagues already presented those one, which I really have enjoyed listening to. So just let me know if you see the my screen.
Not yet, but I'm sure it's going to appear.
Just in a moment.
No problem.
Okay, this. Wow. Yeah, I hope that's it.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So and now I will just trying to fix how to
Press on the screen.
on the screen.
Yes. And then I think it will change the slide.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much. Well, I will try to be to save all our time and to be in time and to be as technical as possible. So, and yeah, our report consists of 3 main chapters, which mean we try to characterize and define what means the community seed production. We were analyzed and showed the implementation of community seed production and the project and the activity that have been done in the region, and yeah, which is very important, and conclusions that we come up and the recommendation which we also wanted to hear about you in these workshops today. So the common thing that we have found out during all our work, and the thing that we have heard and listened from people, that seeds are food, and seeds diversity is the guarantee of food and quality nutrition. And this thing was all over around all the documents we have heard and information there.
Oh, Anatoly, can
Yes.
you speak a little bit slower, because the interpreters have difficulty to follow
okay.
you.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't pass through the essential context, so okay, it's okay. I think it's okay. So now the purpose of the report was to define the concept of community seed production and to show the potential and role of its in biodiversity restoration, and to document the existing experience and initiatives in Europe and Central Asia, and to identify the benefits and constraints in these systems as the technically seeing. But the main goal also is also to provide the linkage of permaculture as an approach with the FAO regional technical platform on green agriculture in Europe and Central Asia. So it was the great pleasure to make this job, and I think, and also we are happy to put on your judgment now. So, and on workshop, I will hear your opinions. So methodology we have used, it was literature review. It was not much. It is still not much, but that what we have is really relevant and quite useful. We did a lot of interviews with farmers, peasants, gardeners, and the representative of the different organizations, even private or NGO, non-governmental organizations. So, and finally, yeah, we were approached to the heart of the report, which defines the seed system production, and this seed system is usually understood in various ways, but often it is considered as the formal one, which we contested. And in fact, this is the complex. So the used one, or more discussed in the I would say in information we got, is the formal seed system, through which seeds obtained. Those quality can be guaranteed through a lot of processes like management, research, crop improvement, multiplication, marketing, distribution. So it could be sales and formalization, and all of it is formalized and documented very well. So it's followed. It's put into the accountability. It is legally protected, and it's all about the revenue. But if we would look for another part, how the seeds are produced again amongst the farmers, we will see that farmers and peasants are usually obtaining the seeds mainly from growing by their own and from exchanging. So they do not rely on the formal information. They do not rely on a great academic research. They rely on those natural, those practical, very practical research and data. They rely on local knowledge. They rely on exchange of knowledge, of course, and exchange of the seeds as the genetical and the new resource for food and seeds as well. So in fact, we could say that as Waitaki said, historically, informal seed system is the predecessor of the formal one. So we, I think, already are talking about the what is the basis for the seed system producing, and which we consider seriously, which informal one is the basis one. So, and in this whole system as a complex, we find out a couple and several issues which need to be addressed and solved and need solutions. Here are some of them. Conventional system, which severely affects the use of traditional crops and varieties. So we know that monoculture as a technique and as the approach to way of growing the foods and then the seeds is damaging a lot. And I think we will not discover, we will not make the discovering saying that. Legality. So which is the real threat to the informal thing is that there are no policy and legal basis for community seed productions, and therefore the data, there is a great big lack of data to evaluate on respectful level this impact of informal seed production to aggregate biodiversity. As well, the intellectual property rights, which pose serious challenges to the farmers seed system of production. We have a lot of cases and international cases. We have legal frameworks which really restricts the rights of the farmers and peasants to sell and to reproduce seeds. Nutritional quality, it's about the consumer interests. So high yields versus traditional crops and local culture, which produce more nutrition. There is then putting in production system the accent to high yield in production. And genetic diversity. It is clear enough agreeable that local varieties have a rich genetic past, and they will have, and they're having now. These are the issues which should be addressed and should be considered in the future work on different level and different institutions. So passing to the things, to the definition of what means community seed productions in general. So it's mainly informal institution and an organization which are predominantly locally governed and managed, and which are the function of it is to preserve seeds for local use. And cooperation amongst the local and locals have one of the key points in this in all this system. In the chapter 3, we have analysis and write it down a lot of initiatives which have been rising up, I would say, for the last 2 decades in the region, in Europe and the Central Asia, about community seed productions, and there are a lot, in fact. And we are I think once we are talking now, in the moment we are talking now, I think a couple of them would just arise now as an initiative. But in this report, we chose to present you briefly 3 of them, which are international projects, which just cover a huge territories and a huge number of populations. And these are the Biodiversity Project, European Coordination Let's Liberate Diversity, and Balkan Seed Network. And all of them has very different purpose, have very different structure, have very different, organizational approach, but they are unique. For instance, the Biodiversity Project have organized exclusively in Europe, including states like Switzerland, Spain, Romania, Germany, Portugal, Belgium, Italy, France, even spread into the United States. And this project was to analyze and describe active factors in conservation of plant genetic resources in agriculture. So what they have done is that they consolidated the basis of knowledges existing in the small farmers, which really preserve the genetic resources, and pointed out that the best practices, selected, analyzed them, and mapped the participants. And after the project have been closed, so the local partners, or local networks that have been created during this project, are continuing the job, which is perfect for us. So European Coordination Let's Liberate Diversity, in fact, this is a platform for discussions, where a lot of those who, the seed savers, we can name it, and they name themselves as they want, like seed breeders, seed banks, seed keepers, seed producers, seed farmers, biodynamic producers or breeders, and where they just have participating in the forums and putting into the discussions and a lot of challenges or opportunities they have to discuss. And this is the great opportunity to be heard and to see each other, to make each other, and to make new connections in the region. Balkan Seed Network, we have spotted out this year because it's a freshly organized community.
Anatoly, sorry,
yeah?
I think we can skip the details, especially because we already had Aida presenting also.
Yes. So yeah, I would just finalize my presentation in 2 minutes, and yeah, we will move on. So about Balkan Seed Network, it's a very interesting project for us because it's a non-commercial organization. It's still it works like a network of 11 Balkan, different members from 11 Balkan countries, which are trying to promote the rights and interests of seed keepers, inclusively putting the accent to UN DROP, United Nations Declaration of the Peasant Rights, which says directly and has the right on seeds a milestone right in this sphere. So I'm lucky to say that Aida Jamangulova make a perfect presentation for another case study, which is in our report, and you will find out others, a lot of more. And we what we've done is that we described in that key characteristics, practices, and results and impacts of a lot, and each of them which we've spotted out. So, and in the next discussions, so we would have, I kindly invite you to express your views and and points of view about the major challenges and opportunity, limitation and constraints which we just spotted and write it down in the report, which we consider very valuable. And if you have something to add, well, you are welcome, and please express it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anatoly. Actually, you have asked the good questions because this is exactly what we are going to do. We are going now to go into working groups, and for that I need to share my screen. Do you agree? Okay, do you see my screen? This is for the working group.
Yeah.
So now we have less time than anticipated in the program. We will have 30 minutes for a group discussion. And you can decide in which group you want to go. Whether you want to go in the group which is going to be on permaculture and foraging plants. And I see that I don't have the right presentation because I had done my something in Russian. So let me just find the right one. Sorry. And the other group who is going to work on seed production. Well, you can still see the presentation, huh? Yeah. So the other group who is going to work on seed production will go in a breakout rooms. We give you the possibility to choose in which group you want to go. People who are staying in the plenary will have the interpretation in Russian and English. In the group on community seed production, Anatoly will actually handle the translation if it is needed from Russian to English. So I am now asking Yulia to show the breakout groups. There will be 3 questions in the working groups. You have a maximum of 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less. So we have pre-prepared this work for you. We are going to go into a Jamboard where we have put already what were the strengths, the opportunity that we can build on, whether on permaculture or on community seeds production. And we just ask you to add what you think is missing. So it should not be too long. For the second question, what are the constraints that we need to overcome and what are the recommendations? So this is think about what are your constraints and what do you think are the possibilities, in which direction we should go, because then we will incorporate this in the report. And then we are thinking of having a future project on permaculture and on seed production. There will be a program. And so we are also trying to see what are the needs that you have so that we can respond to your needs in this future program. So these are what we are going to do in the working groups for a little bit less than half an hour. And then we will have the feedback from in the plenary after that. So I would like to know now, have you seen the possibility of in which group you can go? Yes, Anya.
Yes, Sophie, it's so to choose the group, you should go down where there are 3 points and there is a line saying simultaneous groups, and there you can choose the seeds group if you want to join the seeds groups, or you stay in the plenary if you decide to choose another topic, just that.
Have you seen, so you decide if you want to go, if you want to stay in the plenary or if you want to go in the seats.
It's working. We have already people in the other room also.
Excellent.
So Anatol, Valeria. Yeah. Okay.
Good. So we will stay for permaculture and foraging in this plenary, and we will start immediately so that we don't lose.
Sorry, I want to go in seat network. But
Yes.
Hello, Susanna.
But,
nice to see
hello,
you.
hello.
Hello, Susanna. Down there.
But
yeah.
Okay, where?
Down, you see the 3 little points on
yes.
And press on it and you will see different options there like chat, etc. And down there you will see simultaneous groups. You see simultaneous?
I don't.
If somebody has trouble, I can move them to groups.
Why?
Okay, Lulia, could you please move Susanna?
Yes, yes, just a second.
It's better to move me.
Yes, yes.
I don't see.
Are there other people who would like to move to the seed production group? And Julia can help.
Okay.
Okay, in this case, we can stay where we are now, and we can start immediately. Okay, so I should share maybe my Jamboard, huh? So we, okie dokie. Okay, do you see the Jamboard? Perfect. So, dear participants, we have the first question, and I will let Anya to guide us through this first question and what they have prepared. Anya, over to you.
Thank you, Sophie. So what we saw actually when we analyzed the situation in Europe is that there is a growing number of permaculture networks and initiatives, but also permaculture design courses. So it's really different in each country, in each case, as well as in the seed situation. But there is a growing interest. So we think this is a big strength and a big opportunity. Especially we can see the interest because we know that generational renewal in farming and agriculture is a bit of a challenge. What we see is that actually young people are very much attracted to permaculture. And they're attracted to the aesthetic part, to the fact that they eat healthy food, and especially if it's a young couple, and that they, you know, eat healthy food for them, and it's also for their kids. Also a meaningful activity, and this is something important that we heard from several practitioners, and a very good opportunity in terms of combining, as Taras was saying, that he was trying to reduce the amount of time dedicated to farm. We also noticed from our younger people from the cases that they combine permaculture activity with other activities. For example, there was a case in Portugal where the person was explaining about the family farming, but he's also an engineer. So it's nothing, so they can do both things. And this is great because it offers economic resilience and also allows people to have a variety of activities that fulfill them. Another thing that we also already emphasized today is that permaculture allows to reduce labor. And we have also cases of permaculture initiatives which have been growing over years because the person got experience and knowledge and then tried and then helped to manage or to design other plots for neighbors or other people in the community, or to expand the surface. So this is also another very important thing, that because of the time management, it's possible to grow and to involve more people and to increase the surface where we can practice permaculture. Then, very important thing, small compared to conventional system initial investments. We know that in conventional system, we need external inputs like synthetic fertilizers, we need pesticides, we need feed for livestock if we have animals, etc., etc. But actually, to start, and permaculture is about that. One of the principles is slow and small solutions. So we start with very concrete small steps to build for something bigger. And when our permaculture, actually it was also one of the feedbacks that we got from our practitioners, that don't try to start on a big project. Try with something small and then grow gradually. And this allows for very small investments. And even, for example, a permaculture family who wants to create an eco nursery for trees, because trees in permaculture, not only fruit trees, but also native species, are of big importance for soil fertility. And using the compost, using the local soil, it's possible to create like practically something from nothing. And this is also a big opportunity for permaculture practitioners. And yes, and also another very big opportunity that we think in terms of upscaling is that actually a lot of knowledge about things that are important to permaculture already exist in every country. We have local ecology experts, we have local biodiversity experts, and they know the flora, the fauna. We have people who know the medicinal plants. So the point is to find them and bring them closer to farmers. That would help to integrate their knowledge in our food production. So the question, this is another huge opportunity, because this knowledge and research has been developing over the past decades. And even in more developing countries with less resources, even there we have this research and this knowledge of local ecosystems. So the point is to find it and to use it. So we would like to ask you, what do you think about these opportunities and strengths? And do you think there are other opportunities that we did not mention, or that came to your mind right now in this conversation that we could add and consider? Just.
So the floor is open, and we will put in the Jamboard your suggestion. So you see, I can do that.
Yes.
adding anything you wish to say. If there are no more strengths, we can move to maybe the other part, which is the second question.
I think
Akos Mate, please.
Maybe I'd like to join the last remark of yours, is inspired by natural processes in ecosystems. I would add traditional knowledge of the people, of the local people. So, because they have the traditions and the traditional knowledge, like in medicinal plants.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Since we're not many, and you just made a very nice remark, Akos, if I say correct, would you mind saying where are you from and which organization maybe you represent, so that we know already more or less who is in the room?
Akos Mate is part of Escorena network, which is a big network. He's based in Hungary, and he has been very much involved in medicinal and aromatic plant network. So we can count on him as a partner, supporter, and contributor.
Perfect, thank you. Okay.
And I will put this.
If if there are no other suggestions, we can.
Akos, not Akish.
Never mind. Maybe I will come up later with some remarks, but not now. Okay, is it possible?
Yes, for sure. And what you said is exactly. I think that we have innovation and we have traditional knowledge. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Hungary, I really liked what Aniko Juhas, who is now the deputy minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, she said she was talking about tradinovation. So it's linking the tradition with the innovation, tradinovation. And I think we should embed that. So maybe I could add that to what you were saying.
Yeah, that's correct. I used to teach a subject, innovative use of let's say medicinal plants or horticultural crops, new uses of traditional crops.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
so we have captured that. Maybe we can move to the second question, which is more, what are the constraints to overcome, and if there are others, but also it's about the recommendation. So Anya, please, can you introduce us to what were the findings?
Yes, so what we see here, we have 4 categories: knowledge, evidence, economy, and context. And permaculture is very knowledge intensive. So what we find out is that this knowledge about local ecosystems is a bit separated from agriculture. It's not part of the knowledge of farmers that have been practicing farming in more conventional way, let's say. And so those newcomers who come, they seek knowledge, and at the moment we have permaculture design courses, but not everywhere, and so it's a bit challenged to find this knowledge. Very often they start by observing and interacting, and then they develop from there. Then they find more sources, then they find more people. But we found out that actually to start for the newcomer, it might be sometimes challenging. Another thing related to knowledge is the interconnectedness. So we still have the educational system in agronomy, for example, at university still conventionally oriented, that everything has to come. And there was even a funny situation when I was talking also to a small gardener, and we talked about ladybugs eating aphids. And because this is a great permaculture approach. And he was like, where can I buy ladybugs? So this conventional way of thinking that we have to buy things to solve our problems is a bit of a problem. We actually, and this is another approach, is finding the solutions within the farm, within the system, because we just can attract ladybugs by planting and allowing some flowers that will be their home. So another very important knowledge-related issue is financial management, which we notice that among small farmers, awareness and financial management is lacking. And this is a problem because we want to quantify these benefits and to show, and also quantify this reduced costs for their production to show that it's super efficient, but it needs to be assisted. So for example, in France, there is a great organization that helps farmers to get to know what is farm management and what makes them more flexible and not so, for example, dependent on external inputs, so that they are more flexible. And okay, if, for example, this option is not available, I have other options. And that's how it works in nature. Again, permaculture is inspired by natural processes, which always have lots of solutions. Another very important, the evidence. So as I said, because we don't have this as part of education or in the policy, this connection between the environment and agriculture, then we don't have evidence. We have very little, very few studies, very few research that supports this importance of permaculture. And this is a bit of a problem. So we actually would need to develop more data on permaculture production to be able to show its benefits. Economy. Well, one of the biggest issues is lack of organic reproducible seeds. And we found out from our local organic producers, for example, in Moldova, that they still have to use derogations to use non-organic seeds, because they cannot find all the organic seeds that they need for a diversified system, because it's not conventional where they have one crop, they have lots of crops. And this is a bit of a problem. So they need to search, they need to do bureaucracy for that, etc. Also, reliance upon human and social capital. And this is about really long-term vision in permaculture, that these connections between people, the same as the connection between different crops, like Taras was explaining. So animals, they feed here and then they fertilize the soil, and then the circle goes on. And the same thing in the society. So if we foster this relationship between local producers, local consumers, then we have stronger social cohesion. And farmers also report that they feel more appreciated. But the problem is that it takes time. So it's not like a fast thing, and we need to nurture it. We need to create more conditions for these markets, etc. And also, not the least important, that the development and growth in agriculture is still measured by productivity. And productivity, again, in permaculture is very high, but with time. So instead of giving a boost in the first year, like for example, give commercial seeds, in certain we have a growing productivity. So really, on the 4th year, the farmer can already see how his investment in soil and biodiversity have been working out for productivity. The context is very simple. Permaculture is about context. You need to know what you have around. And I'm not talking only about plants, animals, climate, water, but I'm also talking about people. So it's really connecting with everything. This is in summary. So if you hear something that resonates with you, you would like to share or you'd like to add, please, you're welcome.
Yes, I have Akos, and then after that, I will have Alexander.
Thank you. I'd like to have a question. We are talking about profitability of permaculture. But to my understanding, permaculture is much more like sustainable use of our plant resources. Or can you explain, or do I interpret it in a bad way? Because sustainable use is that we use everything in a natural way, and with the purpose that it survives, like collecting chamomile in the field. We collect, but sometimes we sow seeds into the field in order to prolong the life of the populations. So that is my question, because I think it's not necessarily profitability that we are aiming at, but in the first place, I would say we would like to sustainably use these plant resources. Does it make any sense to you?
Yes, of course, you are absolutely right. We really talk, and actually in my presentation, I really made a point. It's not even just sustainable, it's regenerative. So we're able to create more than just to keep
even more level. Yes, but that's in the long run.
Yes.
Long run. In the first place, as you mentioned, it should be sustainably used and improved and okay.
Yes.
And I would have a very naive question. I'd like to take the opportunity to ask. Foraging plants. In my interpretation, it means that we use it as an animal feed. Foraging. My English is not that good. So
no, foraging.
Can we humans forage plants?
Of course, and I do that. I eat them. I use them as medicinal plants. I'm doing my own oil massage with plants, with Helichrysum italicum, with Hypericum perforatum, with Plantago, and I do my herb tea. So now I'm collecting what we have, but not only the herbs,
so
also
that's what
the nuts.
You mean. That's what you mean by foraging.
Foraging, and it's also now we have plenty of chestnuts.
Yeah.
So I have been collecting chestnuts, so I'm making soup with chestnuts. You have the nettle now, which is a fantastic time of the year to have your herb teas, to have your soup, to have your risotto with nettles, and you can use it in permaculture to actually fertilize the soil. So it's also a good use. And it's also about the mushrooms. So the foraging of wild plants is quite wide. Yes, Anya.
Okay, because I have another word for medicinal plants, wild crafting,
yes,
then wild harvesting, and sometimes the Traffic International came up with a new term for the very same thing that we forage or collect and consume. So
yeah,
okay, I wanted to make clear, because it seems to me like a new term for the same action or process.
It's not really a new term. It's maybe what is more used in Anglo-Saxon.
In Anglo-Saxon, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We will have different words in French, and I'm sure that in each and every language they are specific terminology.
Okay. Yes. I just wanted to make clear that we understand the same idea. Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add here one more point on profitability, that, for example, this foraging activity in Moldova has been very popular among women who decide to collect flowers and herbs, make tea, and then sell it in the local fairs, for example.
Yeah. but let me mention, I always tell my students that not everything that's natural is harmless. So we must pay absolutely attention and must be absolutely cautious by consuming and using these. Yes. Even like sambucus, elderberry berries can be poisonous if you don't prepare them in a proper way. Don't boil them, or just to mention one example. Okay, thank you. Sorry to intervene.
Would like to give the floor now to Alexander Vorovoyo. Please, Alexander, you have the floor. And then I will...
Приветствую вас из Петербурга. В России, наверное, половина населения занимается пермакультурой, потому что половина населения есть дачи, огороды, и в летнее время, в сезон вообще все на даче выращивают для себя. Но это как хобби. Я вот улыбнулся, когда Аня рассказывала, как французская ассоциация учит экономике, как правильно вот экономически все. Тут два кейса есть, две истории. Да? Одна история – это Западная Европа. У меня вот есть знакомые фермеры финские, которых дотация на гектар порядка 500 евро. И, в принципе, им можно вообще ничего не делать, просто вот обозначить, что они занимаются, ну, что-то выращивать в свое удовольствие, получать там свои 30-40 тысяч евро просто дотации. Это все очень здорово. А если говорить вот о регионах, там, не знаю, Молдавия, Украина, тем более где-то Узбекистан, Таджикистан, что там еще, то вот эта малоземельная пермакультура – это путь просто к бедности. То есть очень трудно людям, им нужно либо вкалывать самим, там, да, либо привлекать своих детей, ну, как бесплатный или там дешевый труд. Потому что за еду работать никто не будет. Нужна какая-то экономика, да, в этом всем. Я, кстати, очень советую, вот, кому интересно, почитать технологии Шугурова. Это у нас в Пермском крае, в России выращивают. Вот там экономика очень сильная, но там нужны площади. То есть площади выращивания земель, выращивания зерновых. Первым пунктом, кстати, вот в декларации пермакультуры было, что если хотите убить землю, все выращивайте только зерновые. Вот по технологии Шугурова он выращивает 40 лет, больше 40 лет, только зерновые, только свои семена, не использует ни грамма удобрений, химии, ничего. И у него плодородие почвы растет, урожайность растет, прибыльность порядка 70% его хозяйства. Ну вот, можете почитать, это очень интересная тема. Но там нужны, конечно, площади. В России вот сейчас на северо-западе гектар земли стоит где-то 200-300 долларов, и причем даже бесплатно отдают землю. Поэтому кто хочет масштабно заниматься органическим земледелием, биодинамическим земледелием, то, пожалуйста, можно приезжать, брать землю, тут только нужны рабочие руки, трудиться. Потому что вот Тараса, вот Суходольская слушала, это, конечно, очень тяжелый труд в ущелье, да, там бороться это очень трудно. И вопрос, например, имея 18 гектар, да, 3 детей, следующее поколение, что они получат по 6 гектар этой земли, что они будут делать. То есть очень трудно вот на таких площадях. Если, конечно, не выращивать коноплю, то, что у нас, в общем-то, запрещено, или там какие-то медицинские специальные там темы, то на маленьких участках очень трудно, допустим, потом дать детям образование, купить какую-то, не знаю, недвижимость. То есть это в виде хобби, вот у кого-то есть основной бизнес, или там работа, и дальше дача, и что-то еще. Вот технология Шугурова, кстати, если позволяет площади, это вообще шикарный вариант. И, кстати, могу, вот это, конечно, отдельная сессия по семенам, как они делают. Они сначала сортируют по размерам семена, а потом еще по весу, что очень важно. То есть самые тяжелые берут семена, и вот 40 лет они используют одни и те же семена. Конечно, это не гибриды, ничего, то есть 40 лет, и у него урожайность растет. Но и мы похожие технологии используем, и, в общем-то, тоже получаем хороший урожай и достаточно хорошая экономика. Ну вот то, что я хотел сказать, то есть это, конечно, люди, которые философски как-то созрели духовно для того, чтобы быть ближе к земле, но это очень трудно вытащить финансово в наших условиях, не в условиях Западной Европы. В Западной Европе, пожалуйста, имеешь там 20, 30, 40 гектар, можно шикарно себя чувствовать только на одних дотациях. Согласны? Если будут вопросы какие-то, пишите мне там, я не знаю, где-то в переписке этой почты есть, подскажу какие-то вещи. У нас, конечно, проще с такими площадями большими. Либо что-то высокорентабельное такое выращивать, но я говорю, здесь все упирается в дотации. В Европе очень хорошие дотации фермерам. Вот те регионы, которые в основном здесь представлены, это очень трудно. Это просто сводить концы с концами. Спасибо. Всем хорошего дня.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Some good points referred by you. I would just suggest, because we also actually thought about it, and we in our analysis also had this feedback about the hardness of work, but at the beginning. So for small farmers, for example, what we found out is that at the beginning, they really felt it complicated to establish the system because it's really complex, yes, and it takes a bit of time and work to prepare the things, especially, for example, when the soil was used conventionally before and it's exhausted, and so you need to recover it, you need to put organic matter there, wait for it to decompose. So we did have this feedback that it's hard at the beginning, but we also had the feedback that it's hard the first 3 years, 3 to 4 years. And then when the system starts being more connected and economy, there is also very good this, and I see Taras also raise his hand, so we will have already 2 people in the line to talk about it. But in economy, as you know, 1 + 1 + 1, it's not 5, it's 10. And that's the power of synergy that is created after the 3-4 years between different elements. But I'm stop talking and I give floor to Suilanji and then to Taras, and then Alexander, if you would like to have another comment or something, then we can move on. But yes, let's hear to other participants. Suilanji, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anya. Mine is on knowledge, and talking from the perspective as a youth here in Africa, we are. I mean, it's a young generation where it's full of youth, and these are the ideas that are supposed to be spread to our generation for a healthier generation. So, my contribution would be that with permaculture, there is need to tell the messages that are youth kind of led, because our generation is a social media generation, and the knowledge that is brought to them and how it is packaged really matters. So there is need to find ways that will suit the knowledge that the youth would understand. And yeah, I think that would be my contribution.
Thank you very much. And now Taras, so our farmer, please. You need to unmute yourself so that we can hear you if you want to talk.
Maybe say that in Russian, please, Anya.
Okay.
Есть слышно?
Да.
Да, действительно, это труд, который только на самом начале. Когда мы уже запускаем систему, то система дальше начинает работать сама. Мы только как маленький контролирующий орган выступаем. Если у нас есть достаточное количество уже растущих растений, которые делают свои колонии, которым комфортно, и они размножаются, им не надо их окультуривать, мы только собираем урожаи. И если слишком загущено, мы просто рассаживаем их, увеличивая тем самым площади. Да, есть технологии для техники на больших участках, и они тоже работают и тоже хорошо себя показывают. но не у всех есть возможность взять достаточное количество техники и земель. Я начинал с ручной работы, перешел на лошадь, с лошади на коня, увеличивал площади. И у каждой технологии есть свои плюсы и минусы. То есть их сравнивать сложно. И если мы говорим о прибыли, то в зависимости от у каждого человека разная прибыль, которую он хочет получить. Ну, я не знаю, или это можно сравнивать культуру на маленьких площадях. Ну, у меня все пока.
Okay, I think this was a very good point, that actually what we noticed is that it's a lot about small producers and micro producers, and it's still not that much information about permaculture on larger surfaces, how it can work, because as larger we go, you are right, it needs to you need to find a certain technology that is adapted to it, and it's not still probably the way that our technology development goes. So maybe we can also make this as a recommendation to look at the technology that can be suited for permaculture production on larger scale, so that we develop technology in that direction in the diversified system, yeah, so where it can help. Okay, so we have a message. The time is out. Please finalize your discussions. Okay. So, Sophie, what do you mind? Do you mind if we go to the last slide, just to finalize with the suggestions from our participants? We are trying to understand what would be the projects, what could be done in the region that would help permaculture to develop, and those who already do it to support them, to expand, or to attract more people. We have already certain suggestions. And one of them is bringing ecology experts into the discussion. Then support the data organization, because we do not have much data. And for example, even what Taras is doing would be great to have, let's say, a detailed description of all the crops, of all the livestock, of all the things that really make difference for his farm. And so that we can come with something and show in statistics. Support for capacity building. So capacity means knowledge, means more people, means more interaction, stronger interaction, and also education, where we bring, as I said, different actors, because we have a lot of knowledge. In every country, there is a lot of knowledge, lots of people, experts. The question is that they're all a bit disconnected at the moment, also through our disciplinary separation. But if we put everybody together, maybe we can develop something common, a joint vision for permaculture that works for farmers and for communities. So if you have suggestions of what would be to develop in the region for permaculture, what would be the recommendation? What would you like to incorporate?
We have also people joining from the other group. So
yes, we have completed our session.
So what I think we are going to ask that question again in very soon. So I'm leaving this open, and I will just ask Anya to tell us, but not everything. What is coming out of this working group in just 1 minute? And I will ask the same question to Anatoly.
Okay, so in our group, we discussed the opportunities, and a very important point that was added, apart from the fact that we have already a lot of networks, knowledge, experts, interest, the food is tasty, the landscape is beautiful and attractive, the young people are interested. There are small investments, initial investments, but one of those important things is traditional knowledge. So to look for traditional knowledge that maybe was hidden from us because of other focus on other things, but there are people who do know a lot about local flora, fauna, and everything that can be used. So including for medicinal purposes, so not only for food. And this is very important. So traditional knowledge. Then in the second, for the second question regarding different challenges, knowledge related, because permaculture relies upon knowledge. It's important, it was emphasized by one of the participants, that young generation needs to also have access to this knowledge, to be able, so that we need to get this message to them, that this is an opportunity for them to try, that it gives them lots of benefits, including possibility to combine with different activities. But again, among the constraints, we agreed upon the fact that it's not that easy, so it can be very hard, and at the beginning especially it could take 3 to 4 years of the investment in soil, in building the system, before it starts really being self-regulative and requiring less work. So this is one of the constraints. Yes, and then we also talked about technology aspect, that actually for larger surfaces, the technology helps to make it more efficient in conventional systems, but in permaculture also it can be, and apparently there are already some options, but the point is that we need to look and to direct the technology development into the diversified systems that are in permaculture. So not monoculture, but diverse systems, and how technology can help to manage production on those large surfaces. And we came to the last question that we actually were not able to discuss, but those who joined, you have an opportunity to also contribute to this. What would you like to incorporate in a regional initiatives and projects to promote permaculture or to support those who already do it? We realize that there is a lot going on, but not all this is mapped, not all this is described. So our suggestions would be to strengthen the existing connections, to have more evidence and data on what exists. But if you have any other suggestions, please feel free to contribute by raising your hands.
Yes, and also to using the chat. We are going to give you the possibility to type in the chat, what are your needs? What are your capacity needs? What would you need, so that we can incorporate this in the future project? So you can start typing as from now. Anatoly, you are actually in the other group. What are just give me a few highlights, not much, because we have 5 more minutes before the end of the workshop.
I will try to be even more shorter in briefing. So yeah, we have very productive session. We have very pointed out, so very remarkable comments on this. And I wanted to say that in general way, we all the participants, we are on the wave. We are on the same wave. So as per my first question about the opportunity and strengths, we recognize that community seed production has the great economical opportunity and impact. So, and that's therefore the governmental support in this for this domain is very crucial in order to make this sphere more dynamic and progressive one. And this is, really, this is a great challenge to the government and to the partners which could push and to consult the government to support this community seed production systems. So as for the question number 2, is that consolidation of the seed status or rights on seeds, it's a very important issue. So all the things that goes around the seeds as the rights on it, as the way of keeping it, or quality on it, knowledge about how to produce, keep, store, and exchange it, to making networks about them. All of them are very crucial, as well as the collecting the proper data on it is very important for the capacity building. So, and for the third question is about what would we really put into the next or in the future projects. Almost all the participants said have stressed out the issue about the quality of the seeds, which really connected about the issue of certification. And the solution is one of it is to provide community-based certification for different reasons, for different purpose, but not for all, because it's a very, I would say, tricky question. And this is not just this is very once this is very sensible question. It is to be discussed on a very large platform and for a long term. Well, the legal one, or legal things, to review the legal framework is that very important for now, because there are a lot of restrictions in a lot of countries for seed circulation as for the economy. And strengthening the international cooperation between this formal and informal organization is one of the key factors to exchange the knowledges. And of course, practical examples, demonstration on farm and on seed bank savers, very useful things. How to preserve, what kind, what types, how the selection makes, and what culture is it. So everything is changing because the climate is changing, and it's changing all over the world, and we need to share the experience. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really great. Congratulations to both groups. I would like, just before I give the floor to Viliami, launch the second poll, which is to know a little bit what you're taking away from this workshop. So I will ask Julia, please, can you launch the second poll? Okay, do you see the poll? Yes, okay. So the questions are, to which extent this workshop has increased your interest in permaculture? Not at all, somewhat, a lot. To which extent the workshop has increased your interest in foraging plants? Not at all, somewhat, a lot. To which extent this workshop has increased your interest in community seeds production? And you decide how much. And give you a few seconds. Oh, and then, sorry, last question. How useful was the information shared in this workshop for your work? Not at all, somewhat, a lot. And also to remind you that we are we have the chat available so that you can add what are your needs and what you would like to get out of the future project that we are going to build. Okay, so now I'm seeing the results, and I think, can we share the results with the participants?
Shall I end the poll now?
Or just a second, I'm going to take a snapshot of everything. Well, I'll try at least. Just a few more seconds to vote. Okay, and the last question. Okay, yes, you can show the results to everybody. So I see that, sorry? So as such, some people were already expert, I guess they didn't learn anything new. Some majority have learned somewhat or a lot. Same thing for foraging, a lot or somewhat, and having the same trends for the others. So this is giving us an idea of what was captured. So I would like to invite now Viliami for the closing remarks. And after that, I will take a picture of all the participants who are with us now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sophie, the moderator, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the FAO Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia, it's indeed a great pleasure for me to deliver the closing remarks at the conclusion of this important workshop. I'd like first to thank my FAO colleagues, Tanya Santivanes, our team leader, the Cultural Climate Change team, for the opening remarks, setting the scene for this workshop, and also to our moderator, Sophie Trinan, for the excellent organization and handling of this workshop. I'd like to convey our special thanks and appreciation to our key partner in this workshop, the Public Association Gradina Moldovei from Moldova, especially to Anya and Anatoly, the colleagues who have been working, supporting and facilitating and organizing this workshop. Much appreciated. I'd also like to pay a special acknowledgement to our resource people, to Taras from Ukraine and Wateki, and also Adia. Thank you all, I think, for the case studies and sharing your experience. Thank you for accepting the invitation, somewhat short notice, but you are willing to share your knowledge and the experience on the case study you have shared with us. Contributed well to the report that we're doing and also our discussion. And my deepest gratitude goes to all of you, all the participants from all the countries in the region. We appreciate you for accepting the invitation to participate in this virtual workshop. And I think your active participation in the group discussion helped this a very successful event. I'm sure we all agree, and I think with what the poll have just showed, that we have, this has been a success and achieved the intended outputs of this workshop. We have increased knowledge, a better understanding of the importance and also the contribution of permaculture, community seed production, foraging to FAO work in the region on sustainable agriculture and food security for our smallholder farmers and in our region. The key presentation by our service providers have highlighted the current status and knowledge of permaculture and community seed production and foraging in our region. As we found out, most are still at infant stage, little knowledge, but And we also understand what are the major constraints or problem, and in our discussion, we see what are the challenges and the opportunities. And we identify there's a considerable gap, and to introduce, implement this and scaling up in our region. We have identified potential opportunities for development and the priority capacity strengthening need and actions for future development. As I mentioned in our group discussion, this is a very important session for us to identify what is the needs in our priority needs in our region. And that will help FAO and our development partners, how we can strengthen capacity both at the national level and also at the regional level. For permaculture and community seed production, I think both from a summary from our discussion, we identify key areas of support. It would include a lot of policy support. We discuss regulation, legislation, certification, I think in our discussion on the regulatory framework. There's also a need on information and networking and sharing. I think what we're sharing more successful stories and lessons learned in the region. And also the strengthening the knowledge, and that involves capacity training for farmers through farmer field schools, pilot demonstration on the key aspects of permaculture and also community seed production, and also the support on research and innovation. I think these are some of the key areas, but more will come up from our report. But I think one of the key output, as I mentioned, will be from this report, we'll put together a project proposal concept note to support countries at the national level to mobilize funds to support scaling up of these initiatives in our region. And I hope, I understand this is a very short, we have a lot of things to digest, and I thought the time for the presenters was not much. They've got a lot to share, but I hope this is not the first and the last. This will be a start of the workshop. More workshops will come in with the proposal that we are putting together. So the next question, I think the key step from here, where we go from here. So our team will finalize this workshop report, and the reports that we've been prepared and present here will finalize, and also the presentation, and we'll be sharing with you all in the due course. As Tanya mentioned earlier in the opening, we have this established this regional technical platform on green agriculture, which share the knowledge and sustainable, resilient agri-food system. So most of this information on what we have here will be presented in this portal. We have completed a series of regional workshops to date, supporting the sustainable agricultural food production this year. We have completed a climate smart regional workshop on climate smart agriculture and protected cultivation held in Northern Macedonia. We also have the organic agriculture and certification, marketing and certification that was held in Kyrgyzstan, but nationwide. And also the nature-based solution. We have a regional workshop on nature-based solution in agriculture. And now we have implemented this permaculture and communities. So these are all these regional workshops contribute to our work in sustainable agricultural development. And just in concluding, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to reiterate that we are FAO accords high priority to sustainable agricultural food system and healthy ecosystem. And we are committed to continue to provide the necessary technical support to these initiative activities to our region. In concluding, I'd like to thank you all once again. Thank you for your active engagement. And my appreciation goes to our interpreters and to my team, or our team from Gradina and from FAO for their important support for this workshop. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and over to you, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Bilyami. It's a really nice What you may not know, Viljami is of course from the regional office of Europe and Central Asia, but he's originally from the Pacific region. And you have to know that his university thesis was on indigenous knowledge on the use of the lunar calendar. So I was quite pleased to hear a lot of connection with indigenous knowledge in this workshop, and even in the some suggestion for certification, because the indigenous people have decided to have their own food being labeled and recognized, but with community certification, peer certification. So I see that there are ideas which are connected. So I thank you all. And as I said, I would like to take a picture to remind and to finalize the recording. So for those who are available, who have a camera and are ready to show their face, I'm ready for a screen shot of this workshop. So as I said at the beginning, a smile, you are going to be recorded and now you're going to be photographed. So please feel free to show who you are. Okay, so this is one picture and I will take another one. So thank you very much to all of you for staying even over time for this workshop. It's really good. Thank you to all. It was a great opportunity, a first time that we were able to cover all these things. So I hope it will continue and also extend to other countries and regions, because I've seen that we had many participants from other regions, because this subject is of interest to all of us. Thank you so much. I wishing you
so much.
a next continuation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
You share also email of participants.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yeah, I have sent my email. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
will keep the chat so that we can keep all your comments.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.